Tell me how you feeling. Word up. We're gonna start the show soon. I'm just letting y'all know I'm in here. We got some things, man, we're gonna talk about today. Word up. Sit tight, sit tight, sit tight. All right. Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Payusnomind. How's everybody feeling, man? Y'all doing good out there? Word up. Today, man, we taking it easy. Maybe just today, maybe all days, right? But yeah, man, today we are talking about TikTok effectively stopping negotiations with the indie label union, Merlin, and the ramifications of that, and how it kind of like highlights the lack of transparency with digital distribution. Because a lot of digital distributors are under Merlin. So you look and you say, okay, well, how does that factor into everything? So we're going to be breaking down all of that stuff, all of the details, We'll also dive into this news with DistroKid and unions, which is, I don't know if you guys care. I find it interesting though. But yeah, we'll be talking about that. And then, we'll dive into the live chat where you guys can throw topics out there or ask questions, whatever it is y'all choose to do. Now, for those that don't know how this go, I run my mouth about the topic at hand for the first 10, 15 minutes or whatever have you. Then we get into the live chat, right? And that's how it works. Now, if y'all want to support the channel, y'all can through super chats or whatever have you, become a member. All of that, all that good stuff is welcome. Now, moving right along, good people. So, this TikTok Merlin news, right? TikTok and Merlin, right? So you see, TikTok walked away from talks with Merlin. Now, for those that don't know, Merlin is an indie label union, right? So they represent record labels, or indie record labels anyway. And their job is primarily collective bargaining. That's what their job is, collective bargaining. So what they tend to do is take all of the interests of all of the labels they work with and leverage the power of all of the labels that they work with under their tent to get the best possible deals. So individually, these labels don't have a lot of power. They're not Universal Music Group or anything to that effect that has like the artist with the status that can buckle a streaming platform. That's not where they're at with it. But collectively, they do have power. So that's the point of the union. It's almost like that Planet of the Apes movie, the remake anyway, where Cornelius, or the guy I don't know, I don't think they call him Cornelius and then remake. But he had that part in the movie where he shows the other ape the stick, like one stick, and he breaks the stick. And he's like, individually, weak. Can break us easy. And then he takes a whole stack of sticks and struggles to break them and says, hey, look, together, strong, right? By yourself, weak. Together, strong. That's the point of unionizing. That's the whole point of it. Now, what TikTok did was say, hey, we're not going to negotiate with Merlin as a representative of all of these indie labels. What we're going to do is negotiate with the indie labels individually. Hold on, y'all. Yeah. So TikTok says that they're going to negotiate with these indie labels individually. So they say, hey, we're going to go to each label and work out a deal. And what some of the reports that have been coming out that have been saying, or what they've been saying, is that smaller labels are getting worse deals than bigger labels, which is effectively the way they want it. That's the whole point of not doing collective bargaining, to not have everybody get a great deal. where you have to pay everybody the same. You can pay some a little, you can pay some a lot, and you can save on the other guys that don't have the power to fight for more. Now, a lot of labels are signing those deals because they want to keep their music in TikTok. Now, among those labels are digital distributors. And the thing about it is, digital distributors aren't really record labels. They're not indie labels, they're not major labels. They are service providers. They provide a service. They provide the service of digital distribution. That's what they do. But they're in Merlin. So they get Merlin's deals. So whatever digital service providers Merlin distributes to, because Merlin does operate as a digital distributor. If you are in the Merlin Union, you can have your music in stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, etc. You know, your music can get into those places if you are working or if you're in the indie label union under their agreements. And digital distributors, a lot of them piggyback off of Merlin's deals. Now that Merlin has lost the right to license to TikTok, you're starting to see which of those digital distributors were under Merlin's deals. And that, I feel like, is an important thing because there isn't a lot of transparency with digital distribution. And here's why that matters. That transparency or that lack of transparency is significant for the fact that Merlin is not free. People have to pay to be a part of Merlin. It costs money. Now, they might not charge like a monthly fee, but unions have dues. People have to pay union dues, right? And with indie or digital distributors, rather, that cost that they have to pay gets passed on to you as a user. So that's why it's important to know whether a digital distributor has direct deals or whether they're going through a third party. Now, most of these digital distributors do not disclose this information. They don't tell you whether they're using a third-party company like Fuga, Revelator, whatever, or if they're going through Merlin, or whether they have direct deals. Now, a few of them I know for sure, like TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid, those older companies have direct deals. They have direct deals. Yeah, those companies have direct deals. But everybody else, we don't know. Where you got all of these companies popping up and they distribute to like every store under the sun. So it's like you look at a distributor like DistroKid or a distributor like Amuse even. These distributors distribute to a limited number of stores because they have direct deals. And they can't get those direct deals under, or they can't get those direct deals for all stores, right? They don't have the resources to do it. They're not big enough. And they don't want to go through third parties and pay a middleman. So they just distribute to the number of stores that are within their resources to distribute to and manage. But we see all of these new distributors popping up and they distribute to every store under the sun. You got to ask yourself, how'd they get those licensing deals, right? It's one thing if you buy a label, you know, or something to that effect, or like we got DJ Armand, right? We got DPM distribution in the building. He went out and got licensing deals, like direct deals with a lot of platforms. So you have somebody that might want to create a digital distributor that'll go out and just buy his company and then launch their own digital distribution company on top of his because he already went and got the licenses, right? So you have that. So you can say, okay, well, these companies got these agreements because they went through or they bought a company that already had the agreements. But most times that's not the case. These guys are going through Revelator, these guys are going through Fuga, these guys are going through Merlin, and we don't know. So your money gets reduced. And that's the key aspect of that. Because when you get paid 100%, as they say, from Spotify or Apple Music, you're not getting 100%. You're getting 100% minus what they have to pay to the middleman. So with this TikTok thing and being able to see, okay, who's actually paying 100%? Because now you can see kind of by which digital distributors now have to go and cut these direct deals with TikTok. So first domino was United Masters. United Masters was the first company to go and sign a direct deal. So we know now that United Masters, at least with some of these stores, operate through third-party companies for their licensing deals, which means you get paid less. Next domino was Ditto Distribution. They stepped out of their Merlin licensing deal or their Merlin deal to sign a direct agreement with TikTok. So we know again, with Ditto, you're not getting 100%. Right? They got to pay Merlin, and that money is they tap in your pockets. So we know United Masters, we know Ditto. Now, we don't know who's next. So what we could do is pay attention and see who else gets announced that they have signed a direct deal with TikTok, because all of these companies, again, we're in the dark. We don't know. And then because there's so much lack of transparency with digital distribution in regards to how much you're paid and the different rates for different countries and the different rates for premium versus ad supported versus trial streams, all of these different things, to where people get a royalty report and nobody got a definitive number that they get paid per stream, where they could go to another artist and say, I get paid X, you get paid Y, right? This is how much we are getting paid on average. It's not really a standard rate. You know, you just got you got numbers that people see frequently and they say this is the standard rate, but it's all over the place. So somebody can't use CD Baby and say, hey, I get paid X, right? And then you use TuneCore and say, I get paid X, right? This is the standard rate. No, because if they don't have direct deals, you're getting paid less because of that lack of direct deals. If they take a percentage, a whole bunch of different things factor into it, and the type of stream and all that stuff. And the digital distributors don't always disclose the type of stream. So you don't know whether a stream is a premium stream or an ad-supported stream or whatever have you. All you know is you got streams. I think the worst digital distributor in regards to analytics is probably Amuse, because they don't tell you like the amount of revenue that you earn from each country or like any kind of details. It's just very like, don't worry about it. Trust us. Like, yeah, you know, I don't really get those guys. But yeah, man, I mean, so you got those direct deals and you got this union busting that's going on with Merlin and the indie labels. But the good thing to come out of that is some level of transparency with the digital distributors. And that's a good thing, man. You know, being able to see effectively who's piggybacking and who got their own thing. And the reality of the situation is this is why I have a preference toward more so legacy digital distributors, right? Like companies like TuneCore, companies like DistroKid, companies like CD Baby, because you know what you're getting. Those companies already have direct deals and they have a history. So it's like, are they perfect? No, they're not perfect, far from perfect. But at the same time, you know, hey, they're going to deliver my music from stores. They're not going anywhere because they've been around forever. And they're going to pay me. You know? So those three things. Now, beyond that, we have this issue with everybody getting these accusations of streaming fraud. And that has come to a point where it's almost seemingly unavoidable because every distributor you're having that problem with. You know, so the only way that digital distributors are kind of sidestepping that is to effectively sell you out. You know, that's like when I was chatting with the guy from Two Lost Distribution, and he was talking about the KYC thing, where artists gotta like give them their state ID and all this other stuff, and they say it's the stop streaming fraud, and it's like, okay, how is this the stop streaming fraud? And it's not. It's effectively to narc you out. So if Spotify accuses you of engaging in streaming fraud, they can give your ID and your information to Spotify and let them take whatever action they deem necessary. That's what the point of KYC is. And when I heard that, I'm like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with protecting the artist, you know? But yeah, a lot of them are taking these kinds of measures because there isn't anything that they really want to do to protect the artist, because especially now where they're getting charged for every infraction. So they get charged $10 every time you engage in streaming fraud. They charge you $10. And a lot of times, or most times, artists aren't making $10 in royalties or paying that much for digital distribution because they're charging $20 a year. So they don't even want to take on the fees. So they just kick you out. Get out. Get out of here. So we got like Amuse got that feature where they're like, we'll let you know if we suspect suspicious activity, and you could take action to effectively get whoever got your music on a playlist for streaming fraud, get them to take it off and all this other stuff. And it's like, dude, that's like the playlist scam that I found out about like what was it, last month, where they was just throwing people's songs on their platform to pump their numbers in the hopes that you would check your Spotify stats, see their name, and go and pay for the service. Like, the artist that has no control over that. You can't tell them to take your name off of it or take your music off of their playlist or whatever have you. You know, you can email them, but they could ignore your email. So for a Muse or any distributor to say to the artist, hey, it's on you. You go out there and make sure these guys take your music off of these playlists or don't put them on there or whatever have you. Like, dude, this is like wildly out of your control. You know, that is something that should be on Spotify to remove the playlists that are generating the fake activity. But they don't want to take on the responsibility of doing that because, truth be told, you know, a lot of those playlists are driving streams for major labels that they turned a blind eye to. You know, they just want to target who they want to target. But that's neither here nor there. I digress on that, man. I'm not even going to go too deep into that right there, you know? But yeah, man. The streaming fraud thing, we just got a lot of changes taking place right now with digital distribution. You know, digital distribution has changed. And really what I'm interested in, I want to know what's it like for y'all out here right now? You know, like, how are y'all How are y'all navigating? What are y'all feelings towards this stuff? You know, like Holly, what y'all thoughts are? Because I know the streaming fraud thing has like been discouraging to a lot of artists. And I know that a lot of artists have bounced around with different digital distributors. You've used damn near all of them, maybe, right? You've used TuneCore and left, and went to DistroKid and left, and went to Ditto and left, right? And then it's like, yo, all these guys suck. But at the end of the day, you need them to get your music in stores, right? So it's like, where are y'all at with it right now? You know? Because, yeah, man, digital distribution is changing. And it's changing not necessarily for the better. So it's like, at the end of the day, what digital distribution became was a race to the bottom. Because the service was better when people were charging more. So it's like DistroKid came onto the scene and they said, hey, you know what? You can pay us $20 for unlimited distribution. And the price was so sweet, people just ate whatever came with that. You know, you get what you pay for. And people knew what they were getting with what they were paying. And their expectations weren't high. And if you wanted quality, then you used TuneCore or CD Baby, because they were charging you like $50. You know, I mean, CD Baby was charging you like $80 per release, because they were charging you an additional fee for ISRC codes and UPC codes and stuff like that, you know. And TuneCore was charging you like $50 per release per year. So they were making a lot of money. So it justified dealing with you at a certain level, right? Like you could talk to people and email people because they were making a lot of money off of each artist. But as everybody in the industry got dragged down by DistroKid's model, where it's like, oh, $20 a year unlimited, and everybody switched to $20 a year, you know, or $60 at the highest for unlimited, and you have TuneCore adopt that model, and you have Ditto adopt that model, and you have all the other platforms adopt that model, and then you have CD Baby go and switch to give us $10 and distribute whatever kind of release you want. You know, UPC code, everything included. Now, damn near everybody's customer service is not so great, you know? Everybody's service is like, because nobody now can really afford to provide quality service because the margins are so thin. So you got companies like Venice that provide quality customer service, but at the same time, artists will cry and whine about the quality of customer service that they get from DistroKid or TuneCore or whatever have you. But at the same time, they don't see the point of paying like $500 a year to Venice, because they look at what they make in streaming revenue and they're like, well, it's not worth it. And my model is, it could be worth it, right? It's all about how you moving, right? Like you got to understand how to make things worth it, right? Like that's why I introduced that ladders method that I was talking about in another video, because all generating a certain level of income from streaming is stacking. It's about stacking. It's about promoting your music in a way where you are building an audience that you have access to and re-engaging, because you can just keep feeding the same users new songs and different ways to bring them back to the same songs. And if you keep getting your music added or getting your music streamed by them, then you make it into their personal algorithms. And when you make it into their personal algorithms, you start getting streams from them without them having to deliberately seek you out. So it's like you basically make it into some form of radio for them. So it's like when they play their daily mixes or whatever have you, your music is there. So you got the feedback loops and the routine rotations and stuff like that. So it's like those are the things that you want to bring, and it's about having a strategy to be able to do that. And if you can do that, then you can generate enough money to where paying for quality support is worth it. And it just becomes a matter of the artist saying to themselves, yeah, I'm willing to try to do it, versus just being like, hey, I'm just throwing darts in the dark, right? Where I'm just uploading music and hoping for the best, right? So it's like, if that's what you're doing, then, you're going to experience challenges. Word. If that's what you're doing, you're going to experience challenges, right? But yeah, man, these digital distributors, they're not labels. And why that matters is because their job is not to fight for your interests. That's why that matters. So it's like you see with this TikTok thing and the Merlin ban or whatever, like canceling the licensing with the union. Digital distributors, their job is to get your music in stores. If you look and you see that they don't distribute to TikTok, you might not want to use that digital distributor because you want your music in TikTok. So their goal is to make sure that they can get your music in all of the stores that you value. And the terms are irrelevant. That's like we saw with DistroKid and their agreement with Roblox, where the artists don't get paid at all. They don't care. As long as they could put down the name Roblox or Roblox, when you streaming through the list of stores, you say, oh, they get you into Roblox, they get you into TikTok, and you sign up and pay the $20 a year. So they're not gonna like fight for better terms and say, yo, pay us X and all of this other stuff. And oh, this is an insult, right? That's how agents operate. This is an insult. You're gonna pay my client $2? How dare you? They're not gonna do that. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, you're gonna let us get our music, you're gonna let us distribute our artist music there? Great. Whatever the terms are, whatever the terms. And it's like on you to move to a company that will negotiate. And that's like a higher level, right? That's like your AWOLs. That's like your Empire Music type of companies that are doing digital distribution, but at like a label level. But everybody else, man, they're going to sell you out. They're going to sell you out so fast, because at the end of the day, for them, it's about their business bottom line. Their business, and mainly they're not connected to you in a way that they get any kind of value. So it's like, it's not a partnership. So it's like with record companies, it's a partnership. They're invested in you. They've invested money in you, giving you an advance. They've dedicated resources to you with like developing you as an artist, connecting you with songwriters, marketing and promotion, all of this other stuff. So they have a high level of incentive to get a return on their investment. And that's why they'll go out and negotiate and fight for more money and stuff like that, because they're trying to get a return on their investment. But even if a digital distributor is splitting revenue with you, where let's say they're taking 15% or 20% or something like that, they're still not incentivized to fight for you because they don't have no skin in the game. Yeah, they benefit if things work out, but if things don't work out, there's no impact to them. They haven't invested anything in you. They didn't give you no money. They didn't dedicate no resources to you. So at the end of the day, they're just like, all right, cool. Let's just sign up more artists. Take 20% from that guy, 20% from that guy. Somebody got to blow up. And if anybody do well, we get 20% of that guy. So that's the way a lot of them are moving. They're not trying to do nothing for you because at the end of the day, man, they win no matter what. So that's like the deal with them, man. You know? Now, the interesting thing here is we could look at and see not ditto, but you look at DistroKid, right? And this whole thing. DistroKid Union reveals planned layoffs of 37 unionized workers. Now, when I first came across this, I didn't really understand what they were talking about. But it's like, you see, the latest music company planning layoffs of some staff appears to be distributor DistroKid. The news was revealed by the DistroKid Union, which was set up earlier this year. So effectively, you had some DistroKid employees that unionize. Wow. DistroKid plans to lay off 50% of its unionized staff on November 2nd, claimed the union in an Instagram post. The decision impacts 37 dedicated employees, including 5 of the 7 bargaining committee members. 5 of the 7 bargaining committee members. That basically means the people that are the union reps. So the people that were fighting with DistroKid for better treatment and wages and stuff like that, they were one of the people, they were the people in the group of people that got fired. No non-union staff have been placed on administrative leave. So they didn't fire anybody under the union, but this who wasn't in the union. But this is what I'm talking about, where it's like the same way, you know, they don't care with like Merlin. They sign direct deals no matter what you're getting in that deal. You look at this, they firing the people who are in their own unions or the people who have unionized in their companies. When the union launched in February as part of the National Association of Broadcast Engineers and Technicians, the latter claimed that workers had faced a ferocious anti-union campaign that included multiple one-on-one anti-union meetings and near constant anti-union propaganda. However, DistroKid claims that this week's layoffs are not about smashing its workers' union, but rather about shifting its resources to other parts of the world, expanding to 24/7 customer service with faster response times. You know what that means? That's basically code word for we are going to have customer support reps in Bangladesh reading off of a script and providing terrible customer support, but more frequently, effectively. That's what that means, right? You'll be able to call us 24/7 and get terrible customer support, right? Now, rather than having to wait a week to hear we can't help you, you can hear it in an hour. So, I mean, that's wild, bro. But yeah, that's the news. Now I'm going to tap in, man. I'm going to see who in the building. You know, see what y'all talking about. If there's anything y'all want to talk about, we can talk about it. If not, you know, then I'm going to get my ass up out of here. You know? But yeah, man. Yeah. And that's another thing, man. I'm thinking I might start taking calls where we do some, I guess, live chats or live consultations. I talk to an artist. They could tell me what they're going through, what they're struggling with, you know, and we could kind of like work through it live. And I got like a little poll in the chat. Y'all can let me know what y'all want to do, you know. And there's different services I could use to pull it off. But I just want to know if the interest is there. So who we got in here, man? Right? We got Kinsey. Yo, if you in the building, man, tap in so you can shout yourself out, man. You know what I'm saying? Or I could shout you out, rather, right? Let me clap it up for you, man. I want to clap it up for you, right? You know? Show you some love. So we got Kinsey Babyface. What up, my guy, man? It's always good to see you in the building. Dedicated. It's my guy right there, right? We got YUCF. what up? I don't know if it's supposed to be screamed like an acronym like that or if it's Yusuf, right? I'm not sure. My dyslexic ass, I don't know. Right? But you got DPM Network Music Distribution, what up? So let me see, man. What's up? What's happening in the chat, right? Yeah, Kinsey talking about I've been trying to release small snippets and creating micro songs, 4-bar hook and 4 to 6 bars of the verse, specifically for Instagram and TikTok. Also been experimenting with Coinbase NFT minting some of my art on the Base blockchain. I mean, has it been working out? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, right? Like there are no rules. There is no don't do that. There is only try it and see if it works. So if an artist wants to mint NFTs and they could sell them, then it's like, okay, great, right? If an artist is uploading snippets and is generating buzz, then okay, great. The whole thing I would say is this, right? You need clientele. You know, this is not like the movie Field of Dreams where they say if you build it, it will come. No, if you build it, it's highly unlikely they will come. You know, like you got to bring them. You got to bring them. So at the end of the day, social media is not going to help you. If you go to Instagram, Twitter, any of these platforms, and you don't have an audience already, you're talking to no one. You're talking to yourself, right? And if you go there and you basically reach out to friends and family and get them to follow you, then you're talking to friends and family. And they are not fans. So it's only but so far you're going to get with them from the point of your music moving. If you're asking them to, if you're like doing fundraising where you're like, hey, auntie, can you give me $10? Then yeah, it works out. But if you are there like, hey, I got this new album out, come and buy it, good luck there, you know? So it's like you got to have a strategy to building an audience. And just uploading music is not an effective strategy to building an audience because what they want is high engagement content. And a lot of times songs don't lend themselves to a high level of engagement unless they are kind of like to some extent like exploitative of a cause or something like that, you know, where somebody is like very overt with like expressing their support for something, like, you know, like how you got Lizzo and body positivity, and it's like it's very apparent because she's like really overweight. So it's like, hey, look at me and this big body. I'm saying it's great to be big and beautiful, and people will ride with that because they like, that's right, girl, you go, girl, you know, and it's very apparent. But a lot of times art be like a covert expression of certain sentiment. And a lot of times, you know, the greatest artists kind of resent being so simple with their art. They get off on kind of like confusing people a bit and having people not really get it and having like almost like these Easter eggs where it's like the song just keeps unraveling the more they listen to it. Like, ooh, I didn't catch that line. Oh, I didn't catch this line. Like, oh, now I get it, right? And that's something that they get off on. And social media doesn't lend itself well to that, you know? So lyricism and stuff like that, it's not really for that, you know, unless you're gonna go on like Sway in the Morning or something and kick a crazy hot freestyle, you know, stuff like that tends to get shared a lot. But a lot of times, you know, it's all about what you're talking about. So it's like if somebody is like going there and they're rapping about social issues when everybody else is rapping about money and drugs and guns, then that stands out because people say, well, this guy's actually talking about something. Like, yo, it's great to hear somebody talking about something, and people get on that and share it because you're not talking about the same stuff that everybody else is talking about, you know? So it's like, it's all about finding ways to like separate yourself and stand out. And if the music isn't really doing that, then it's going to be hard for it to move. And then even if it does, it becomes a matter of who you have access to. So if you are doing something socially conscious, but everybody that you rock with are from like when you was on some ignorant type time, right? And they want to hear more ignorance and you making sense now, they're not going to support that. They're going to hear it. They're going to be like, all right, dude, that's what's up. That's good for you. But they're going to reject it because that's not where they're at in life. And you're going to struggle to move it. So it's like you got to be at where the people you're around are at, or you got to get around some new people. And that is where like advertising comes in. So it's like either A, you can go out there and find a new tribe, you know, go to different open mics and showcases and start floating in different circles and, you know, getting involved in different kinds of conversations and find your way to a new audience and build that way. Or you can just advertise and find a new audience and build up that way. But you have to have a strand and a strategy, a plan and a strategy for how you are going to access a new audience and build. Because at the end of the day, man, you don't want to be out here spinning your wheels. You're making music, you're taking the time out of your life to make music. You're putting it out there. If you're putting it out there, you're putting it out there because you want people to hear it. And at the least, you want appreciation for it, right? You want somebody to be like, yo, this is hot. So it's like just leaving it up on Instagram or whatever to be ignored don't make a whole world of sense, man. Word, don't make a whole world of sense. You know? Now, NFTs, I mean, with music, it never really made sense because there's no point to it. You know, like you got things that people like to collect. So if you can find like people that just collect it for collector's sake, like how people collect coins and baseball cards and stuff like that, great. But I don't know how many people out there that are like that, you know, that is just like, yo, I collect NFTs. I mean, the whole thing for it was making a living. People, or the whole thing about it was that people could flip them for more money. And now that bubble's burst. So people don't really see an opportunity to flip it for more money. So people are like, hell, I'm buying these for. So, you know, you don't really see them moving like that. It's like a small group of people within that space full of hope that it's going to bounce back. But I doubt it. Word. I doubt it. Naughty Jackal. What's up, my guy? What's good? But yeah, man. So it's like we got all of these different things going on. And this industry, man, this union busting, streaming fraud, all of this stuff, man. And it's just becoming a different landscape to navigate. But you just got to be smart with how you move, you know? Like, I keep hearing artists punch the clouds with digital distributors where it's like, oh, these digital distributors, man, they all suck. Why we got to use these companies? And the reality is you don't have to use them, you know? I don't know why people operate as if it's a necessity. It's not. Spotify is a streaming platform with restricted access. People who do not have a Spotify subscription cannot stream music on demand. It actually limits access to your music. Apple Music is a subscription-based platform. It actually limits access to your music. So the argument that you need to be on those platforms for exposure is ridiculous. It's not about exposure. The only thing it's really about is monetization. Monetization and immediate monetization. Because Instagram is free to put your music up. YouTube, free. SoundCloud, free. Bandcamp, free. All these platforms are free, cost you nothing. You can put your music up there, you can get your music out there, people can consume it, all of that type of stuff. But monetization is the issue. So YouTube, they got a monetization threshold. Instagram and these platforms, they have either no way of monetization or really high monetization thresholds. So it's like an artist could put their music up, but it's like, well, if I get a single stream, I don't make anything, right? If I get 100 streams, I don't make anything. If I get 1,000 streams, I don't make anything. You know, so people want to make something ASAP. And that's why they jump on these platforms. But then at the same time, they don't have the audience. So if you don't have the audience, you get your music on Spotify, you pay $20 to get it there, and you ain't generating those streams anyway. So it's like, yeah, it's a smarter move to kind of like move through what's free and build up to what's paid. Because at the end of the day, if you can't generate enough activity to where you would qualify for monetization on a platform like YouTube, let's say, it's highly unlikely that you're going to make any kind of significant revenue on a platform like Spotify. Because YouTube is free with no barriers to access. Like anybody in the world can listen to your music on YouTube. So if somebody can't get people to stream their music for free, you're going to have a hard time trying to get people to subscribe to something to gain access to it. Normalized Audio says DistroKid is in the shitter now. The metal drummer still own DistroKid. I think DistroKid has investors now. Like I think he still plays a role in it, but I think it's some venture capital money and DistroKid now, you know, because they're doing acquisitions and stuff. Like they just bought some mastering service, all of these different things, even this stuff with the union and everything like that. That's like venture capital stuff, you know. So I think he might play a role in it, but I think somebody else is like the predominant owner. But yeah, I mean, with digital distribution in general, like I said again, it's a race to the bottom. You know, it's the services are getting cheaper, or they started getting cheaper. Now people are starting to try to figure out how to squeeze more profit. You know, so with certain surreptitious things going on in regards to like what rules they pass that you don't know about that result in you getting your money, getting some of your money taken. That's like you look at TuneCore, right? Like I like TuneCore, but at the same time, you know, I could call them out when they do something wrong, and their accelerator program, you know, I mean, that to me that's a hustle, because they're not doing anything for the artists. So they create a program and they say, hey, you know what? We are going to give you access to Spotify Discovery Mode. Spotify Discovery Mode. That's what they're giving you access to. And TuneCore Accelerator Program. And in exchange for that, they take 20% of your revenue from all streaming platforms. So to activate Discovery Mode, they take 20% of everything for what they're doing for one platform. Now, outside of that, Discovery Mode on Spotify can be activated from within Spotify for artists. So it's not even something that you need a digital distributor to do. So they're taking 20% for something that is free. Like you don't need them to do it. It's just a covert way to take 20%. And then you add insult to injury with the fact that Spotify takes 30% of the streaming activity generated from the sources that they're going to push your music through with Discovery Mode. So that's 30% to Spotify plus 20% from TuneCore. Like, it's madness. It's madness. All that just to take 20%, despite the fact that you might be paying them like $60 a year to keep 100%. Now, it's something that you can opt out of, but they automatically opt you in. So you have to be monitoring and checking and stuff like that and see, oh shit, I'm opt in, and then opt out. But by the time you catch it, they probably done took 20% from you from like months or maybe even years in some cases. So yeah, man, them in the way that they move in, a lot of these digital distributors in the way that they move in, man, it's just like, it's effectively, you're in a position to where you're gonna either be at a point where you just don't care and you're just like, yo, I just need to get my music in these stores for whatever it is I'm doing, and as long as they pay me, it's whatever, right? And you use the big guys and you just do that. Or you're gonna say, hey, I'm really going for it and I'm trying to make something happen, and you use a company like Venice, where they got like more advanced customer support and community and stuff like that, and you try to make something happen, because it's kind of getting wild out here. But I mean, again, TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid, they're reliable. And outside of those companies, it becomes a matter of what the incentive is. So it's like, if a company isn't offering me anything that is like too good to turn down, then I'm using one of the reliable companies, right? One of those top three: TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby, And the only companies that are offering artists something outside of distribution are SoundOn, which is run by TikTok, and what they're offering is promotion. So you sign up for SoundOn and you distribute a release through them, and they have like thousands of TikTok influencers that they'll have use the music in their videos to kind of like give you a springboard and an opportunity to get the music heard. And if the music catches on, then great things can happen after that. So they give you an opportunity to get your music heard. So that is a reason to use SoundOn. SoundCloud is giving artists like 100 streams or something like that. Like every new song, they'll push through their algorithmic system to help you generate 100 streams for each new song you distribute. So they're gonna help you with discovery. So that's something with SoundCloud. And then SoundCloud also has, a different monetization model, because it's not just digital distribution that you get with SoundCloud. They also bundle like a subscription to their SoundCloud service, which includes, fan-centric royalties and access to fans, like messaging fans, all of these other SoundCloud features with like private listening and, certain things like that, man. A lot of stuff comes with it. But yeah, SoundCloud is there. So they give you promotion. SoundOn gives you promotion. So if you're not going to use DistroKid, TuneCore, or CD Baby, then the only other options would be either SoundCloud or SoundOn, because there's a reason to use those guys. Everybody else outside of them, my personal opinion, I'm not using, because they're too new, I mean, Amuse, they're just not great, right? Because it's like, their royalties or their royalty reporting isn't what it needs to be. And all these other companies, man, they could go under tomorrow. And at the end of the day, I don't like that. I don't like the lack of stability. I don't like to be on shaky ground. And as we know, you get what you pay for. So the more a company is offering you for less, the shakier the ground, because they're gonna have so many people overloading their system with certain, with stuff that it's like, yo, dude, it's just unsustainable. I don't care what they say. They could say whatever they want to say in regards of, no, 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 we all right, we all right. Nah, dude, there is something up there, you know? So it's like, run, word. Yeah, man. Kenzie says, it's crazy for artists these days. Even Bandcamp is highway robbery. Monthly subscription fee just to keep track private, just to keep tracks private, and still 15% off sales. Basically a record deal. Oh, Bandcamp. Listen, man. I got an old video where I broke down the fees and stuff for Bandcamp. You know, it ain't too popular because it's not a lot of people who are researching it like that, which is how they're able to kind of like get away with so much. You know, like Bandcamp passes itself off as like this friendly and supportive service for artists. It's almost like a charitable organization, you know? That's the way people look at it, right? Like Bandcamp is here for artists. They support artists. So artists don't really think about it. And a lot of times, you know, the stories that artists get from artists that find success there, they're making more money than what they made in other places. So they're like, yo, man, this is a great place. So other artists go there and they use it and nobody really thinks too much about it. But I mean, yeah, 15%, you know, 15% of your revenue. And then on top of that, they're passing off transaction fees. So it's like, and I think it's like twice too. So it's like, it's a transaction fee each time somebody buys. And then you have another transaction fee you got to pay when you withdraw your money. So you got to pay a fee every time somebody buys from you. And then you got to pay a fee every time you withdraw your money from them. And then on top of that, to gain access to like patch in your Google Analytics, to have independent access to your statistical data, they want to charge you $10 a month for that. And then even with you paying $10 a month, they don't give you access to your sales analytics. So you can't see when somebody goes through checkout and completes checkout and things of that nature. You can only see, okay, here's how many people hit my website, or here's how many people hit my Bandcamp page, you know? So it's been terrible, you know? It's just for artists who are like, I don't know if I could sell anything. I don't want to invest in a website or a Shopify store or a Squarespace store or something like that. You know, I'm just experimenting. And they go and they set up a Bandcamp account and put a release up and see if they got some support there. And if people buy, you know, people tend to not think about it. It's like, all right, I made some money, great. And they just keep going. But the reality is, if you use Bandcamp and you see you made some money, it's smarter to get off and start selling direct to fan through your own website. Unless your sales are coming through Bandcamp, like their editorial team is featuring you or something to that effect. If that's not happening, then it's like, you know, there's no point in being there. Word. With Bandcamp, yeah, man, they been not what's up. So it's like if an artist is selling music direct to fan, and I got a link to discounts on products and services that I talk about and stuff. But yeah, if an artist is selling music direct to fan, you're better off and trying to set up everything like you're operating as a business, to where you use Squarespace or you use Shopify, or, you know, I mean, the best platform to use would probably be Bandzoogle, because Bandzoogle is set up specifically for people that want to sell music, where if somebody downloads an MP3, it comes with MP3 tags, or ID3 tags rather, ID3 tags that carry along the metadata that tells them, hey, here's what the song is, the artist name, stuff like that, in addition to chart registration and stuff like that. So Bandzoogle would be the best place. But yeah, you would want a platform like Bandzoogle that you could connect your analytics to and pixels to and advertise and market and have conversion tracking, to where you could understand, okay, what kind of message resonates with customers and what type of checkout they want and what they're paying you, what type of payment methods they prefer, and try different payment methods and stuff like that. Like that's what you kind of need if you're operating as a business. If you're operating as a business, you need a higher level of control, you know? Yeah, man. What's up? What about continuously running ads on YouTube to specific locations? The whole thing is with YouTube, bro, is that with YouTube, it's about strategy. Because YouTube is a platform with a lot of distractions. It's not dedicated to music. So you get somebody to check your platform or to check your music, and they may not never find their way back to it. Because first off, YouTube doesn't consider an ad view a legitimate view. So if I watch your video from an ad, it doesn't go into my history. So that means that I won't have nothing from you recommended to me because I watched that ad. So it becomes all on me. I have to take the initiative. So if I watch a Kinsey Babyface video from an ad, then what I have to do is say, oh man, that song was so amazing, I want to hear it again. And I got to go to YouTube search and run a search for the song title or your artist name to find my way back to it. And if I do that, then you get an organic view, and that way you can kind of make your way into my system. But even with that, you're competing against people on YouTube that upload new videos every day. New videos every day, new videos once a week, new videos bi-weekly. You know, so you're not going to have the level of engagement to get a video recommended over them. And that's like the problem with YouTube. So with YouTube, if you are doing a marketing strategy through them, you effectively are in a cycle of having to pay and move people to someplace else. So it's like you would have to run an ad, get people into remarketing lists, and run ads to the people on your remarketing list. And then it's like, okay, well, if you run an ads to get them to watch more videos, that's nonsensical because you're not going to make your money back. So it's like, okay, well, what are you driving them to? So that's like what you're going to look at. That's what you need to look at. Word, man. But yeah, if nobody else got no questions, nobody else got nothing they want to say, man, I'm going to get on up out of here, yo. Word up. Yeah, man. At the end of the day, we got links to products and services we recommend in the description box. Y'all can always hit me up at Payusnomind on Instagram, at Payusnomind on Twitter, payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift, signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One.